Is super important. Just talking to your team, your physician, dietitian, the clinic that you go through, I think is super important just to make sure that they're aware of where you're going, how long you'll be gone, what kind of things we can support you with on the front end of travel. Um, what kind of equipment and things you'll need to take with you. There's also a letter that can be helpful um, when you're traveling to share with like TSA, those types of things. And like I said, calling ahead, communication is going to be key. Um, Obviously, if that is a challenge or a barrier for some people, um, I would say just being really open with your care team and your family and friends, whoever you're traveling with, is going to be super important. Um, Another flying tip that Angie has here is booking direct whenever possible, so you don't run the risk of losing, uh, losing baggage or dealing with connecting flights, long layovers, those types of things. So you feel like you're not able to be doing your tube feeding regimen, um, in the airport, or, we'll kind of talk through some other options that you might have so you're not having to do that in a bathroom where there's just loads of germs. Um, so, like I said, really important for planning ahead. Um, Making a list of all of the things that you might need, formula, um, tubes, supplies, syringes, containers, or however you um, have your tube feeding, and deliver it. Obviously, if you're using a pump, bring that with you, plus extra batteries or a charger, and then your medications. One thing that's not on this list, but can be helpful, is like bottles of water, so that if you're flushing medications, things like that, um, you are able, especially with the doctor's letter with all the tube feeding supplies that you'll need to take with you, um, you can take unopened bottles of water on the plane with you, or like through TSA. Um, they just have to do kind of a different check. A lot of times they'll like swab your hands or something, or whoever your person is that's traveling with you. Um, they just do kind of an extra check, but it's important to have the water so you're able to do like flushes before and after, or just staying well hydrated while you're traveling. Um, and then with the medications as well. Um, So once you get to the place that you're going, sometimes it's helpful if you're staying in a hotel to make sure there's a refrigerator or access to refrigeration to store the formula, especially once it's opened. If you're doing an open system, or if you do like half cartons, and you need to store the rest of the carton um, in a refrigerator, it's helpful to have that ahead of time. And a lot of times, um, hotel personnel are very accommodating or willing to work with you on finding that option. Um, the other thing that you can do is contact the supply company that you get your formula from, and see if they can ship to the location that you're going to be going to, especially if you're going to be somewhere a little bit longer. Um, if you're a snowbird or something, or if you're taking a longer trip, having that stuff sent ahead of time can be helpful. So that way you're not having to, mess with all of the luggage and packing stuff and making sure that you have enough on hand before you go. You can just have that sent directly to where you're going. So you have all the supplies and formula and stuff ready to go when you're there. Again, contacting the the travel agencies, the TSA, even the airline directly ahead of time can be helpful. This slide gives some good resources for the TSA website that you can go to help too. But yeah, most of the time, airlines, when you call ahead, can be pretty accommodating to whatever you might need. Um, so just having that communication on the front end can make your trip and travel days a lot more seamless. Please, someone tell me if anyone has questions because I'm just kind of plugging away and I can't see all of you. So just shout if you have a question or want me to
Good so
go
far,
over
Alyssa.
anything. Thanks.
Mhm.
Um, Also, when you're traveling, it's important to have an emergency plan. Um, you know, just peace of mind for you, for whoever you're traveling with, some of your healthcare information, contacts, knowing ahead of time where the local hospital is, or in case of emergency, where you're going to go. Um, and then just whoever you're traveling with, make sure that they have all the paperwork that they could possibly need in case of you needing to be admitted to a hospital or need to go to the emergency department or anything like that. Just again, for that enjoying your trip, enjoying your travel, having that peace of mind that everything's kind of all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed ahead of time. So you don't have to worry about those types of things while you're actually on your trip. Um, so we talked about like shipping things down ahead of time, but it is important, things can happen. You want to make sure that you have enough for a day or two with you, in case your extra stash is in luggage that gets lost, or you want to have formula and the supplies you need in all the different places. Carry on checked baggage and then shipping down ahead of time just to make sure that you're not scrambling once you get there, especially for the people who rely on tube feeding for as your sole source of nutrition. um, we just want to make sure that you're not going without your nutrition source while you're traveling, especially, but just in general, we want to make sure that you're having access to those things. Extra time. This is something that I need to build into my own life. But just allowing for extra time with your schedule so you don't feel rushed, you're not skipping things or, having issues. Just plan extra time. Know that things could go smoothly and then you'll be early, but we would rather that be the case than kind of having to rush or stress and then not having the time that you need. Um, this gives the example of going through airport security if they need to look through your equipment or supplies or all of that. Um, we just want to make sure that you're prepared and ready to go and don't have that extra stress of, you know, hearing the overhead um, announcements that your flight's boarding and you're still getting through the TSA checkpoint. So just keep that in mind. Um, Scheduling that extra time into your travel days, especially, can just help ease the day. So if you are having a big trip and jet lag is playing a role, if you're crossing lots of time zones, um, it can be helpful to start adjusting your body's rhythm ahead of time. So, like a week before your trip, depending on if you're going somewhere that's going to be earlier or later, kind of adjusting 1 hour at a time um, the week before your trip, just so that your whole schedule and routine isn't thrown off completely. Um, that can be helpful. That's not something that I've done before. Um, dealt with the jet lag or needing to kind of totally change things around, so I can't speak from experience, but yep, what's that? No? Okay. Um, the other thing, if you're traveling to visit friends and family, um, we obviously recommend an open approach, just explaining to your friends and family or whoever you're going to be visiting kind of what your tube feeding regimen is, and then do what's best for you, do what's most comfortable for you. If you want to be part of the group as you're doing your tube feeding, that's great. If you would prefer to be doing that um, privately, that's okay too. Just communicate what your preference is with the people that you're traveling with or traveling to visit. Um, it's okay either way. Um, you
Also,
just do what's best for you and let people know. Um, Same thing with like public places. If that's not something you feel comfortable with, doing your administering your tube feeding in a public place, um, you can call ahead and see what kind of private areas they have available to you. Like I said, not using the bathroom. We want we want you to be comfortable and able to do your tube feeding administration in an environment that's a little cleaner than a public bathroom. Um, Also, you know, using like a nursing mother, breastfeeding mother, or quiet room in um, lots of different venues. They have those available. Um, that's a better option than a bathroom. So um, be okay with asking for those things. And that's something that sometimes it's just, oh, it's just easier to do in the car or, something like that. Or, but just take the extra step for yourself and for your own well-being to be in a comfortable private area if you prefer that. Um, Again, avoid feeling rushed. Take the time that you need for the tube feeding and for preparation. Again, communication is so key with letting people know in advance that you're going to need a little extra time, um, and just be okay with that. Um, the other thing that we talked about, or I mentioned earlier, with traveling with bottles of water, is just you want to make sure that you're getting plenty of fluids, um, and not getting dehydrated or risking dehydration. So if you're going to be on a plane for a long time, make sure that you are giving yourself some small amounts of water throughout the day, or if you're going somewhere hot. Um, the other thing that just kind of coincides with that is kind of planning out um, the restroom stops. So if you're going to need to take an extra step or make sure you go before you get on the plane so that you don't have to worry about it when you're in the air, those types of things. Um, that's not necessarily directly related to tube feeding, but just kind of coincides with the whole travel day. Just make sure that you're doing what you need to do for that as well. Um, and yeah, if you're going to be in a hot area or I feel like maybe it's just me, but travel days are sweaty. Whether it's just like um the packing the bags and getting through the airport and just the heightened stress of travel days, just making sure that you're taking care of yourself and making sure you're staying well hydrated is important.